we get a shot of it or not? Yes, of course.
What you got here is the F1 steering wheel for HAAS. It's crazy, and as Pietro said, he had a 100-page PDF just to get to know how to use the functions.
Sorry, it's us again. It could be like a risky question, but I know you have the steering wheel there, right? Can we get a shot of it or not? Yes, of course.
All right, so what you got here is the F1 steering wheel for HAAS. So on the front, you've got a bunch of functions.
I know.
So here you're talking about engine functions. It can be electrical recovery functions, basically anything. They got engine modes, all sorts of things on here. A lot of this, you'll hear the engineers talking through commands. So they'll be saying strat 2,
okay.
change these things, and they go through, and then they have to press OK to confirm.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so they'll have to press OK to confirm.
So it's not just enough to say, okay, I got you?
Yeah, so it's not going to automatically set that setting. They have to go through and confirm it.
Okay.
Whenever you move one of these dials, it'll flash up on the steering wheel what you've done. So it's fine because it's very difficult to see this when you're doing 200 miles an hour. So as they make a change, it'll flash up on the steering wheel in big letters.
Okay.
And then they can obviously, if that's what they want to do, then they can press confirm. Up here you got brake bias forwards and backwards. Very important. You got neutral, radio button, which sometimes can be latching. So you can press it once and it will stay on, and then you press it again to turn it off. Or it depends on the driver, but sometimes they'll press and hold. So just to speak, yeah. And then here you got pit lane speed limiter. This is slightly raised. You can see that there is slightly raised so that you don't accidentally press that button, because then you're going to be limited to 60 kilometers an hour.
Exactly.
So that's not what you want. Anything that you want to change quickly in between corners is on a thumb wheel, very close to the grip. So they'll use these thumb wheels to change things like diff settings, like energy recovery, brake shape, that kind of thing. So one of the things with a Formula One car is when you hit that brake pedal, you can change the characteristic of the brake after you've hit the brake pedal. So you can use the same brake pressure, but it'll actually change the characteristics for you. So it's got brake by wire.
This thing is more intelligent than me, actually.
It's crazy, and as Pietro said, he had a 100-page PDF just to get to know how to use the functions.
Oh my God.
And it was only really when he started using it that he could actually kind of start to get his head around it.
Crazy.
Quite an important setting down here is which tyre you're on. So you want to quickly change that if you do change to, say, an intermediate or a wet, because that's going to affect your pit lane speed limit. So you've got a different circumference of tyre, so you need to make sure that you've got the correct setting on there so you don't exceed the pit lane speed limit. So on the back of the steering wheel you've got your gear shift paddles, which is pretty standard, but you've got a hand clutch. So it used to be 2 paddles, and the first paddle would take it to the biting point, and the second paddle you'd be able to modulate the amount of clutch pressure. But now they put it all on one clutch paddle. So basically you do your whole race start and pulling out of the garage just using this.
It's like having the clutch in a regular car is.
Exactly. Yeah, so you only have 2 pedals in a Formula One car, brake and accelerator. On the back here we've got DRS buttons, so you can press those. You can press and hold it, and basically as you cross that DRS line, the DRS will automatically open. These buttons are really useful because they are for what we call presets. So if, say for example, you've got a combination of diff settings or brake settings that you're using going into a corner, you can flick that. Say for example, turn 12, you know that you want XYZ, you just flick that button and it will put that preset onto the car, and then once you come out of that corner you flick it and it'll reset it to the other.
That's actually amazing.
And then obviously on the back here we've got a quick release collar, so that's how you pull the steering wheel off. On the inside is the electrical pins, so that's how it connects to the car.
It's magnetic, you said electrical, right?
So it's an electrical connector, there's pins inside there that go into a plug that's on the steering column. And yeah, basically one of the regulations in Formula One is you have to refit the steering wheel, because there's a lot of information that's stored on here, so if ever there's an accident or if ever there is an investigation, they need to be able to go back and see what information is on here. And also the marshals need to be able to move the car, so when the drivers get to take the steering wheel off and throw it, it's also a bit of an FU to the marshals as well.
God.
So and they're volunteers and they look after the drivers.
But they get a fine for that because it could get damaged, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you've got to look after your steering wheel, and all of these are very unique to the driver. So the main sort of casing is the same for both cars, but there are areas that they can customize per driver. So I know that Kevin runs a bit of baseball bat grip on his steering wheel to help give him a bit more feel.
For sure.
But it just depends on what the driver wants, and the combination of buttons is pretty adjustable, so they can change it around as it suits them.
That is amazing, and I thank you so much for this. You enlightened us all. Thank you so much.
Amazing.
In our
You're
channel.
welcome. Thank you so much.
Actually, they're going to be stunned for that. Thank you so much.